Title: In Her Eyes, Episode 2, Chapter 0. The audio file started with silence. Not white noise, but an eerie, static-less vacuum that hummed just low enough to set my teeth on edge. Then a breath, a pause, and her voice. "Let's begin again. From the night you killed me." My pulse hammered. The voice continued, calm and rhythmic, like a lullaby laced with poison. "I know you've been trying to forget, Daman. You've been hiding in fiction, scribbling lies about me like I was just another character. You bent me into something sellable, tidy, neat. But I don't belong in tidy little books, do I?" I paused, the audio, fingers trembling. There was something new in her tone, not just menace. Sadness? Longing? I couldn't tell. But it made my stomach turn. I replayed it, listening closely, trying to catch background noise, anything that might give me a clue about where or how it was recorded. But all I could hear was her. Her voice was close, too close, like she was whispering into my ear. Then came the static, faint at first, then swelling into a shriek that forced me to yank off my headphones. My screen flickered, and then, for a fraction of a second, a face appeared, blurry, but unmistakably hers. Eyes like obsidian, lips parted as if caught mid-breath. Then, gone, the file closed itself. The folder vanished. I backed away from the desk. My legs barely worked. I stumbled to the kitchen, splashed water on my face, stared at myself in the mirror. My reflection looked thinner, hollower, like something had been gnawing at me from the inside out. I needed answers. So I went to the one person I hadn't wanted to face. My editor, Craig. He worked out of a sleek co-working space in Shoreditch that looked like it had been designed by an algorithm with a caffeine addiction. Glass, chrome, and anxiety. Craig was lounging on a beanbag chair, tapping on his phone when I walked in. "Daman, Jesus, you look like you've been dragged through a hedge backwards. Everything all right?" I didn't bother with small talk. "You said you wanted the character of Shreyasi toned down." He blinked. Yeah? We needed her to be more accessible, more marketable. You pushed me to rewrite her." He raised his hands. "Hey, you agreed to the edits. You said yourself she was too intense, too unreliable." "She was never meant to be reliable. She was real." "Real?" He laughed, but stopped when he saw my expression. "Daman, she's a character. You made her up." "I didn't. She was in the car, with me." His face changed then. A flicker of discomfort. "Mate, there was no girl. We checked. Everyone did. There's no record of her. You were alone. But what if she was never in the system? What if someone made her disappear?" He exhaled. "Daman, are you off your meds again?" "I was never on any." He looked like he didn't believe me. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through something, then held it out, a Reddit thread, a conspiracy forum. Headline: Author Daman Thaker faked Ghost Girl for viral fame. There were hundreds of comments, photoshopped images, mocked-up screenshots claiming to prove I was a fraud. People analyzing frames from the petrol station footage, trying to match Shreyasi to known missing persons. Others insisting she was AI-generated. "Fiction. You're a meme now," Craig said quietly. "People think you're the next Nightmind subject, but they're wrong. She's real." Craig shook his head. "Then prove it." That night, I went back to the crash site. It had been nearly a year, but the tree we hit was still marked by scars, bark stripped, wood splintered. Someone had tied a bit of red cloth to a branch. A makeshift shrine, maybe, or a warning. I stepped over the ditch, heart racing, and sat on the patch where I remembered waking up, blood in my mouth, glass in my hands. I tried to remember the seconds before the impact. The rain, her hand on my knee, her laughter. I closed my eyes, and then, it was like falling. I wasn't in the woods anymore. I was in a corridor. White walls, a rhythmic beeping in the distance. A hospital? No, a dream. Or something worse. Shreyasi stood at the end of the corridor, pale, barefoot, wrapped in one of my old t-shirts. Her eyes were darker than I remembered. Not angry, just empty. You left me, she said. I walked toward her. Where were you that night? Where did you go? She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped aside. Behind her, a door, black and pulsing. Everything you want to remember is in there, she whispered. But once you open it, you can't unknow. I reached for the handle and woke up on the forest floor. Gasping. In my pocket was a Polaroid, one I'd never seen before. It showed me, standing outside my flat, smiling. And next to me Shreyasi. She was real, she had to be. But who was holding the camera? And why did her eyes look so wrong? I didn't sleep that night. I tried. God knows I tried. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the Polaroid still clutched in my hand like a talisman. Every few minutes I turned it over, half expecting it to change, for her eyes to blink, for my smile to twist, for the shadows behind us to rearrange themselves into something more sinister. But the image never changed, just me, just her, and the sense that someone else was there too, behind the lens, watching. I checked the time, 3:47 a.m. My flat was silent, but I kept hearing things. The tick of a radiator that wasn't on, a whisper of air through a closed window, footsteps that never quite resolved into sound. Sleep eventually came, not like a descent, more like a possession, and with it, another dream. I was walking through my flat, except everything was inverted. Colors slightly wrong, angles off by degrees I couldn't name. The books on my shelves whispered in voices I couldn't understand. My laptop was open, a document on screen, Chapter 0, but it wasn't the version I had written. This one was different, darker. The words twisted, sentences I'd never typed describing scenes I couldn't remember. In this version, Shreyasi didn't just disappear after the crash. She clawed her way out of the wreckage, burned and broken, then walked for miles until she reached a roadside diner. She had blood on her hands, someone else's. And then, as if knowing I was reading it, the text on the screen shifted. He left me. He bled out and let me die. Now he writes me wrong. I slammed the laptop shut in the dream. It kept typing. I woke with a gasp, heart racing, and the Polaroid was gone. I tore apart the flat, every drawer, every shelf. Nothing. Then the doorbell rang. I froze. No one visited me this early. I padded to the door barefoot, half expecting to find no one there. But there was a package, plain brown. No label. No return address. Inside, a small black notebook, leather-bound, smelled faintly of burnt wood and perfume. I opened it. The first page said only, "I remember more than you." The rest was filled with entries, handwritten, not mine, neat, obsessive. Script, October 12, you said we'd run away. You lied. You said I'd be safe with you. You lied. October 15, you drank too much. Again, I drove. You laughed. I bled. October 17, I watched you sleep. You don't know how loud you scream. The entries continued. A daily record of a relationship I couldn't recall in this much detail. Some of it felt right, moments I described in my blog, but others were darker, twisted, private things I'd never told anyone. Secrets I barely remembered confessing, things I thought I'd made up. I called Nia. She picked up groggily. Damon, you all right? It's not even 6. I need to ask you something. She was quiet for a beat. This about her? You believe me, don't you? About Shreyasi? Another pause. I believe you believe it. That's not the same. No, it's not. But I remember the wreck. I remember how confused you were. And how angry. You latched onto this girl like she was the only thread holding you together. She's real, Nia. There's a notebook. It arrived this morning, filled with things only she could know. Then go to the police. They'll think I wrote it myself, that I'm having another episode. She sighed. You need help, Damon. Real help. Not blog readers, not editors. I nearly threw the phone. Instead, I opened the notebook again. One entry stood out. October 22. There's a tape. You made it before the crash. It's proof, but you buried it. You were afraid what it would show. I remembered something then. A VHS tape. Obsolete, dusty. A conversation recorded on a whim during one of our long nights. We were both drunk. Laughing, I tore through the closet. Boxes unopened since the move. Under a stack of old magazines, I found it. No label, just a smear of red paint across the plastic. Like a warning. I didn't have a VCR, but I knew who would. Gareth, my old uni mate, had never let go of the analog dream. His flat was a shrine to dead tech. I messaged him, emergency, tape, need to watch. Now, he replied with a thumbs up and an address. His place smelled of incense and bad decisions. He hugged me like I'd just returned from war. You look like shit, mate. I need to see what's on this. Now, he popped the tape into an old Panasonic player, the screen fuzzing to life. Then, static. And then dash us.me and Shreyasi. We were on my couch, drinks in hand. She was smiling, eyes half-lidded, skin glowing in the amber light. I looked happy, like I hadn't since the crash. Say something for future you, she teased. I grinned into the camera. Future me is probably confused, haunted, and unshaven. But if you're watching this, don't forget her. Not ever. She leaned into frame, kissed my cheek. Promise me, she whispered. Then the screen glitched. Hard cut. New footage. Shakier. The same night, maybe minutes later, we were arguing. Her voice was tight with anger. Mine was slurred. You said you wouldn't write about me. I said I wouldn't publish it. It's different. No, Damon, it's not. You always take. You strip people down and wear them like masks. The screen glitched again. Her face twisted in fury, then blurred, then darkness. When the tape ended, I was shaking. She had been real. She had loved me, and I had betrayed her. End of episode 2.